Assalamu alaikum. Peace be upon you. Mr. Mark Donfreight, Director and Founder of the ICD, His Excellency Mr. Frank Mueller, Member of Parliament and Deputy Chairman of the ASEAN Parliamentary Group, distinguished Professor Shamsul Amri Baharudin. He's the one who's supposed to be standing here and giving you a lecture, not me. But let me start by saying how thankful we are to the Institute of Cultural Diplomacy for being very generous to host this event this afternoon. This is actually the first program under our own cultural diplomacy program. We have just started, and this is the first one. And I'm proud to say that we chose Germany to kickstart our diplomacy. Cultural diplomacy program. So someone asked me the other day, why Germany? I say, yeah, because we want Germany to be the World Cup champion. There are countries in our region who have started cultural diplomacy a long time before. Indonesia is a good example. I think they started in 2003. My colleague from Thailand will tell you that they have started quite, if not about that time, probably earlier. I wouldn't say that we have not done anything at all on cultural diplomacy, but to formalize it under the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, we have now just started. I must congratulate the Institute for recruiting so many young students from all over the world, and not that I am normally like to mention states or nation states who are represented in the room, but for obvious reason, I'm very happy to see Afghanistan girls in the room. It goes a long way as your contribution to what is happening to the reconstruction. I think in the positive spirit, we are talking about the reconstruction of Afghanistan. The world that we want, to many of us who share some kind of idealism, is probably not really the world that we are living in today. We would like to have a world that is really peaceful, that is really harmonious, where people share the wealth of the world that operates based on certain values like truth, justice, equity, with full respect of the law, environmentally sustainable, and so on and so forth. Of course, countries that has a working democracy and democracy that produces the democratic goods that we dream of having. A country that countries or world that practice social justice. Malaysia believes in a multipolar world where we know the contestation between the five superpowers, and we have always been very open about supporting the role of the countries in the EU, including Germany, because we simply need to balance the contestation or the competition between the five superpowers. We face, as I was just saying, we face clusters of problems, including the behaviors of the superpowers, and also contemporary issues. I call it contemporary developmental issues. Number one is climate change. Perhaps it is better to say climate crisis that are man-made. Yeah? If it is natural, it is not a crisis. It is a crisis because it is man-made. We celebrate the advent of technology, which is bringing a lot of benefits to humankind, but it has its own downsides, like issues on cybersecurity, the spread of hate speech on the internet, and so on and so forth. And we also face the international architectures in finance and economic and politics and so on and so forth, which can be biased to certain sides of the globe and not very beneficial to certain side of the globe. So the challenge is finding the solution. And I believe this is part of the thing that you discuss in your classes. I do not want to go into that area. I'm simply saying that we want to learn from Germany. We want to learn from the Institute on what are the kind of things that we need to do, particularly on cultural diplomacy. I agree with you. Cultural diplomacy encompasses a big spectrum from, things that we normally, some people talk about, the arts, the performing arts, the music, the movies, to high culture, to the thoughts, the thinking. Not just the thinking, it's the thoughts, yeah? The philosophy, the identity, the actual ethos of each societies. And we bring with us today one of our distinguished professors. We don't have so many of them. There's only 3 distinguished professors in Malaysia. One of them is Professor Shamsul, a well-known scholar, one of the top advisors to the government when it comes to issues on unity and social cohesion. So thank you so much for coming. I look forward to listening to Professor Shamsul's lecture and to a fruitful dialogue thereafter. Thank you so much.